There are mysteries in the waters that surround the Door Peninsula. For nearly 350 years, Lake Michigan has claimed the lives of hundreds of sailors and sank thousands of sailing vessels. Modern-day shipwreck hunters have spent decades looking for ships that have gone down. There's an allure to the adventure of discovery, the unraveling of 100-year-old mysteries, where below the surface lies a museum of maritime archaeology and artifacts that only few have the privilege to visit.
Door County's maritime history is fascinating. At one time, the city of Green Bay was the largest port in Wisconsin, even bigger than Milwaukee. And Death's Door Passage here at the end of the peninsula was sort of like I-94. All those schooners were basically like the modern day semis, and the traffic going through here was unbelievable. And with that much traffic came accidents.
Up here now, you see this bit, that's the whole hull of the ship right there. And if you look real carefully on the right and on the left, there's more wreckage. That's actually 3 different wrecks you're looking at, all touching each other. There's so many shipwrecks out here, they're literally piled on top of each other. We got a couple motors to get through here. The sailing schooners just had the wind going for them. And the wind might be going one way, the current would be going the opposite way, and it'd lose control, and next thing you know, you'd have a shipwreck.
People can walk to Death's Door today or go up to Northport and look out across it and think, well, why couldn't those captains sail a boat through here? What's the big deal? Well, what you don't see is underwater are a bunch of shoals out there. And the actual opening to go through Death's Door is not very big.
This boat was built in Buffalo, New York in 1855. It sank in 1867. So this is a very old shipwreck. Now that big long piece you see at the back of the wreck, that's the keel center, the actual keel, the bottom of the ship sticking out. So we're basically on the stern of it here. Well, when you've got certain frontal storm systems that move over Lake Michigan, they can sort of raise and lower the lake on one end or the other, and it can actually pull the water through Death's Door from Green Bay out into Lake Michigan. So the current through here can really rip through here, and it doesn't necessarily depend on the wind either.
The Great Lakes are a fascinating time capsule of history. Like I said, the cold water, it doesn't eat the wood, so the wrecks are basically intact when you find them. And some are so shallow, you don't have to be a scuba diver. You can snorkel them. Other wrecks, yeah, they're deeper. You know, they're 70 feet down or 105, 110 feet down.
Recently, a Door County-based search relocated 5 historic wrecks that had been lost over the years, and discovered 2 new wrecks whose whereabouts had been completely unknown until now.
We're just between Detroit and Plum Island near the Big Red Buoy, and we are attempting to locate one of 2 shipwrecks. We know of 2 of them in the area. We don't know which one is which right now, and so we're hopefully going to get in the water and try to put some tape on it and get some measurements and figure out which one is which.
So it looks like there's something there. I don't know if it's, anything big. Like, get yourself dressed up. You're going to do some bounce diving.
We're gonna go down, see if, I guess there is actually something down there, and if there is, we'll measure the length and width. Just get some general measurements. What we found in there was
It's not very much of a shipwreck. We did find the keelson and some funnocks. And when you get towards the stern, it's very flat and square.
So I have 4.8, 9.2, and then 16.5.
Since 1987, it's been our office's duty to go through and catalog and record as many of the shipwrecks that we have in Wisconsin as we possibly can in order to not only preserve them and understand and try to identify which ships are where, but also on a broader impact to be able to preserve them for the rest of history. And so for us to be able to go down and record these shipwrecks is something that only adds to that story and helps to add to the historic impact that Wisconsin had on the rest of the United States.
So it's going to be up that path, right?
Well, that piece that we just saw will be on that side.
Oh, okay.
The second piece was like 28 and a half.
That's the Agnes Berman. Yeah. So the Agnes Berman was the scow. Most people think the square end is the stern, but with scows, both ends were square. They're very much like barges are.
Okay.
Scuba diving, it opens a whole new world, and especially in Door County where you've got such a rich maritime history, and a lot of that history's sitting out here on the bottom of the lake. And you can go down and see a schooner that was sailing during the Civil War. And that really puts it in perspective, and you realize how long that goes back. The whole history of Door County is sitting there underwater for divers who want to go explore it.